I watched the morning light spill across our kitchen as Emily hummed beside the counter, while I tried steadying my restless thoughts. "You're staring again," she said, glancing back with her familiar teasing smile. "Just thinking," I replied, though I wasn't sure what exactly I was trying to think about. She handed me a plate and said, "Eat before you drift somewhere strange in your head again." I laughed, but the tension I'd been ignoring all week nudged at me again. "Everything okay?" Emily asked, tapping her phone quickly before sliding it face down on the table. "Yeah, just tired," I said, the lie feeling heavier each time. She nudged me playfully. "Then stop thinking so much." Her laugh should have grounded me, yet something inside me tugged like a quiet warning I couldn't name. When we drove to my parents' house for the weekend gathering, she squeezed my hand and whispered, "We're going to have fun. No overthinking." I nodded, hoping she didn't notice how my mind felt cluttered. My mom greeted us the second we stepped inside. There they are. My favorite couple. Emily laughed and hugged her warmly. My cousin snapped a photo of us and immediately posted it. "Perfect couple goals," she announced. Everyone agreed, but when I looked at the picture, Emily's smile seemed a little too posed, as if crafted rather than felt. Ryan appeared behind me and clapped my shoulder. "Dude, why do you look like you're solving quantum physics at a family lunch?" I chuckled. "I'm fine." He raised an eyebrow. Classic, "I'm definitely not fine" answer. I waved him off, but the comment stuck with me. Over dinner, Emily chatted with my mom about wedding venues. "I want something simple but magical," she said. My mom clasped her hands together, thrilled. My dad leaned toward me. "You picked a good one," he said. I smiled. "Yeah, I did." But inside, something felt off balance. Emily's phone buzzed twice during dessert. My sister smirked. "Someone's popular." Emily laughed too quickly. "Group chats. They never sleep." She slid her phone deeper into her purse. The gesture was small, but my stomach tightened anyway. When we finally left, Emily said, "Your family loves us." "I love them for that." I nodded. "They love you." She studied my face briefly. "You sure you're okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just tired." She let it go, but I felt her eyes lingering. Back home, while she showered, her phone lit up on the table. I didn't touch it, but the preview flashed clearly. "Can we talk?" I looked away instantly. My mind raced. Who needed to talk to her late at night? Why didn't she mention anyone messaging her? "Stop it," I muttered to myself. "Don't be paranoid." Emily stepped out wearing her towel. "Did you say something?" "Just talking to myself," I said. She sat beside me and rested her head on my shoulder. "Come to bed. You always think too much when you're quiet." The next morning, Ryan dragged me out for coffee. "All right," he said, crossing his arms. "Spill?" I rolled my eyes. "There's nothing to spill." "Liar," he said flatly. "You're twitchy. Tell me what's going on." I sighed. "Emily's been different." Ryan nodded slowly. "How so?" I hesitated. "Messages she won't explain. Smiling at things she hides. It's probably nothing." Ryan leaned forward. "Does it feel like nothing?" I shook my head. "It feels wrong, but I love her. I don't want to doubt her." "Loving someone doesn't mean ignoring reality," he said. When I returned home, Emily wrapped her arms around me. "Hey, where'd you disappear to?" "Coffee with Ryan," I replied. She smiled, but something in her eyes flickered. "You and your deep conversations," she teased. "We're okay, right, Alex?" she asked softly. I forced a smile. "Yeah, we're okay." But as she walked away, I felt the truth settle heavily. Something in our perfect facade was beginning to crack. I tried telling myself the doubts would fade, that love was enough to silence the noise building in my chest. But even as I repeated those comforting lies, a small part of me whispered that everything was about to change soon. I first noticed the shift when Emily angled her phone away from me on the couch, pretending not to care that I was watching. "Who are you texting?" I asked, trying to sound casual despite the tightness crawling up my throat. She startled, then forced a smile. "Just work stuff." Her tone was light, but her quick fingers locking the screen told a different story. "You don't have to explain," I said, though a small voice inside me whispered that I actually wanted her to. She stood abruptly. "I'll start dinner." The moment she stepped into the kitchen, her phone buzzed again, and I heard her whisper something I couldn't make out. That tiny sound burrowed into me like a warning. Later in bed, I stared at the ceiling, replaying the moment, wondering why it felt so wrong. A memory surfaced, her office event months ago. She had stepped outside for a call, cheeks flushed when she returned, claiming it was a wrong number. Back then I believed her instantly, Now the memory felt sharp enough to cut. The next morning I walked into the kitchen to find her typing again. "Morning," I said, watching her freeze for a heartbeat before she smiled. "Who was that?" "Alex," she sighed. "Don't start this again." I asked a simple question. "Work?" she snapped, though her voice trembled slightly before she stepped past me. The door closing behind her felt louder than it should have. By noon my thoughts were spiraling, each one feeding the next. I texted Ryan, "Need you." He met me at our cafe with a knowing look. "All right," he said, "tell me before your head explodes." I told him everything, the hiding, the whispers, the tension choking me. He listened silently before saying, "You need to breathe, man." "Something's wrong, Ryan." "Maybe, maybe not," he said. "Just don't jump to conclusions." "I'm not jumping. I'm connecting dots. Promise me you won't do anything stupid. I just want the truth." He sighed. "Sometimes the truth hurts more than the lie." His words clung to me long after he left. When Emily came home, she forced a cheerful smile. "Hi, love. We need to talk," I said. Her shoulders stiffened. "Not this again." "Then tell me what's going on." "I'm tired," she said. "I can't do this right now." She walked away, leaving my questions hanging like smoke. 2 days later I went to her office to surprise her, only to freeze when I saw her with a tall man laughing softly beside her. "Emily?" I called. She spun around, startled. "Alex, what are you doing here?" The man stepped forward. "Julian, I work with Emily." She added quickly, "We were just discussing a project." Julian smiled. "She keeps me organized." "Organized?" She never mentioned that. "Nice to meet you," I said, though something twisted inside me. When he left, Emily whispered, "Why didn't you text first?" "I wanted to surprise you." "Please don't do that again." The word struck deeper than she realized. In the car she stared out the window, refusing to look at me. "Emily, talk to me," I said. "I can't right now." That night I sat on the edge of our bed whispering to myself, "I'm losing her." The fear that settled in my chest felt heavier than anything I had carried before, a weight that refused to lift no matter how much I tried reasoning with myself. "Maybe I'm imagining it," I whispered, but the words didn't convince me the way they once did. Every moment with her now carried a quiet tension, like we were speaking through invisible walls neither of us acknowledged. At dinner I tried to lighten the mood, saying, "We've both been stressed, maybe we should take a weekend trip." She forced a smile that never touched her eyes and replied, "Maybe later, things are chaotic at work." I nodded, though inside I felt something tightening further, a rope pulling taut in places I didn't know existed before this doubt began. When she excused herself to shower, I sat alone wondering whether love was supposed to feel this uncertain, this fragile, like glass shaking on the edge of a table. I wanted to trust her more than anything, but trust without clarity felt like walking blindfolded into traffic, hoping the cars would simply miss me out of kindness. When she returned and lay beside me, she whispered, "Good night," but her voice carried a distance that chilled me more than silence ever could. I stared at the ceiling long after her breathing steadied, telling myself I would find answers soon, that I owed us the truth even if the truth threatened to break everything we had built together. I closed my eyes and promised myself that tomorrow I would start looking beneath the surface. I stepped out of the cafe with my mind buzzing, pretending everything was normal while fear twisted under my skin. "Just breathe," I muttered, clutching my phone. Emily hadn't replied to a single message all morning. I scrolled again, hoping a new notification had magically appeared. Nothing. "Why are you acting like this?" I whispered to myself. "She's probably fine." But the doubt wouldn't loosen. At home, I opened her social media first. Okay, let's see. I tapped through her posts, stories, tagged photos. Same filters, same smiles, but something's off. I zoomed into a picture from last night, one she posted at 2 a.m. "You weren't home," I murmured. "So where were you really?" My chest tightened. To distract myself, I walked to the living room. The silence felt too heavy, so I grabbed my jacket and headed out. On the way to the park, I passed the spot where we had our first argument. I muttered, "You said it was about the burnt pasta, but it wasn't, was it?" I remembered her tense jaw, my stubborn pride, the way we both pretended it was nothing. At the lake, I whispered, "We were happy here." I could almost hear her laugh. But another memory intruded, her stepping away to take a call, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Just a friend," she'd insisted. I sat on a bench, rubbing my forehead. Why didn't I pay attention? My phone buzzed. "Maggie. Hey, you free?" her message read. I typed, "Yeah. Need to talk." She replied instantly, More like you need to. 5 minutes later we met outside a quiet corner store. She crossed her arms, studying me. You look like you haven't slept. I'm fine, I lied. No, you're not. She glanced around, then lowered her voice. It's about Emily, right? I exhaled shakily. I don't know what's happening anymore, Maggie. She's distant. She hides her phone. She disappears at night. Maggie placed a hand on my shoulder. Talk to me. What exactly is going on? I swallowed. I checked her socials. There's a photo from last night. She wasn't home. Maggie's expression softened. Did you ask her? She'd just say it's nothing. What if it isn't nothing? Her words didn't comfort me. I rubbed my hands together. I went to the lake. Tried to think. But all I can remember are the little things I ignored. Like late night calls. Sudden mood changes. And I just brushed it off. Maggie sighed. You two love each other. But love doesn't erase problems. I know. My voice cracked. I keep wondering, did I ever really know her? Or was I just seeing what I wanted? That's a painful question, she whispered. But maybe it's time to face it. I leaned against the wall. It hurts, Maggie. I feel jealous, stupid, angry, all at once. And I don't even know why. Because you care. I scoffed. Sometimes caring feels like punishment. She nudged me gently. Listen. Emily has always been complicated. You know that. She bottles things up. She tries to protect people even if it means lying. That doesn't make it easier. No, she admitted. But it might explain some things. I stared at the ground. I hate this uncertainty. I hate imagining her with someone else. I hate thinking I wasn't enough. Maggie's voice softened. Do you want the truth? Or comfort? Truth, I whispered. Then listen carefully. She hesitated, then said, Emily loves you. But she's terrified of something. And whatever it is, she's hiding it even from herself. I blinked. What does that even mean? Sometimes people lock parts of themselves away. That doesn't mean those parts disappear. I paced in a small circle. So what do I do? Start by being honest with yourself, Maggie said. You're scared. Admit that. Fine, I muttered. I'm terrified. And talk to her. Not with accusations. With honesty. I'm not sure she'll listen. Then at least you'll know you tried. Her sincerity cracked something in me. I nodded slowly. Okay, I'll try. Maggie squeezed my arm. Good. And remember, you're not alone in this. I breathed out, letting the weight settle. Thanks, Maggie. Anytime. When she walked away, I stood there, staring at the fading daylight. My chest felt heavy, but for the first time all day, I had direction. I just need to know the truth, I whispered. Whatever it is. I walked home slowly, replaying every conversation we had, searching for clues hidden between her hesitant smiles and my careless assumptions. If you're in trouble, I whispered into the cold air, why won't you tell me? The house looked the same as always, but tonight it felt like a stranger waiting for a confession. I stood at the door, hand trembling on the knob, hoping she was inside, and fearing she might not be. I hadn't planned to check her desk that night, but something tugged at me, a mixture of curiosity and unease I couldn't ignore. Emily was in the shower, singing softly, oblivious to the storm brewing in my mind. I knelt beside her desk and noticed an envelope slightly hidden behind a stack of papers. It had my name written on it, but not in my handwriting. Who's this from? I whispered to myself, flipping it open. Inside, a small note and a receipt caught my eye. The name on the receipt, Julian. My chest tightened. When Emily stepped out, wrapped in a towel, I almost dropped it. Alex? What are you doing there? Her voice was calm but measured. I was just, looking for a pen, I stammered, holding up the envelope like it was evidence. Emily's eyes widened for a split second before settling into composure. A pen? Really? Yeah. But I found this, I said, my voice rising slightly. Who is Julian? And why is there a receipt addressed to him? Emily took a deep breath and approached me slowly. Alex, sit down. Please. I didn't move. Sit down? Emily, explain this. She placed a hand on the envelope. I can't explain everything in a few words. It's complicated. Complicated? You've been hiding things from me. I can't. I stopped, shaking my head. I just can't believe you. Emily's eyes glistened. Alex, listen. I swear it's not what you think. Then what am I supposed to think? I asked, my voice raw. You disappear at night, you hide messages, and now there's Julian. You've been keeping secrets. I've been trying to protect you, she said softly. Protect us. Protect us? By lying? I laughed bitterly. By making me doubt everything? I never wanted to hurt you, she whispered. I was helping someone. Someone who couldn't ask for help openly. I couldn't risk dragging you into it. I sank onto the couch, gripping the envelope. Helping someone? My mind raced, imagining worst-case scenarios. Betrayal, lies, another woman. My stomach churned. And I was supposed to just trust you? Just sit there while you keep secrets. Emily knelt beside me. Yes, Alex. Because I love you. And because I feared if you knew you'd stop me or, she swallowed, or you'd hate me for it. I hate that I even have to ask, I said, my voice shaking. I hate that my mind jumps to betrayal before believing you. Alex, her fingers brushed my hand. I know your pride makes it harder. But please look at me. I did. Her eyes were honest even if the situation looked deceptive. Then why the secrecy? Why Julian? He's the person I've been helping. A friend in danger. Chloe knows too. She's been my support. That's all. Chloe. I remembered the few texts exchanged weeks ago. Casual, supportive, nothing alarming at the time. Now everything clicked differently. My pulse slowed slightly. So Chloe knew? Yes, Emily said. She understands why I had to keep it hidden from you until I was sure it was safe. And you didn't think I'd understand? I asked, trying to keep the edge from my voice. I wanted to protect you from worry, she said, her tone gentle. You've been under enough stress, Alex. I didn't want to add to it until it was necessary. I closed my eyes, exhaling heavily. Pride and relief tangled in my chest. I feel so foolish, I admitted. I accused you without even knowing. Emily smiled faintly. Don't. I know how it looks. I should have told you sooner. I feared the reaction, the panic in your eyes, the questions. I panicked, I admitted, opening my eyes. I wanted the truth, but I wanted it without the risk. I wanted to trust blindly, and instead I spiraled. She leaned closer. It's okay. We both reacted the way we felt we had to. You doubted because you care. I hid because I cared. It's messy, but that's us. I looked down at the envelope again, at the note inside. My heartbeat slowed. So Julian, nothing romantic? Nothing improper? Nothing, she said firmly. He's a friend, nothing more. Just someone who needed help. That's it. And Chloe supported me in making sure it was safe for everyone. I nodded slowly, trying to absorb her words. I guess I let my mind run away with me. Emily's hand cupped my cheek. And I should have trusted you enough to let you in, even if it was scary. I see that now. I met her gaze. So, the second life I imagined? I chuckled bitterly. Completely wrong. Yes, she whispered. Completely wrong. For a moment, the tension between us eased, replaced with the fragile warmth of understanding. Yet the room still carried echoes of the fear, jealousy, and mistrust we had just walked through. I still feel uneasy, I admitted. Even knowing now, it's hard to shake the doubts. That's fair, she said. Trust isn't rebuilt in an instant. But we can start piece by piece. Together. I took her hand. Together. She smiled softly, leaning against me. I'm sorry for scaring you. And I'm sorry for letting my imagination run wild. We stayed like that, holding each other, neither speaking for a long moment. Outside, the evening settled into quiet. I still didn't know everything, but I knew this. Emily loved me, and despite the secrecy, she had acted out of care, not betrayal. And for the first time that night, I felt a cautious hope that maybe, just maybe, we could navigate this hidden truth without losing ourselves. I couldn't sleep again. The ceiling stared back at me like a cold judgment. My mind ran in endless circles. Emily's smile, her whispered apologies, the envelope I had found. Was I imagining everything? I muttered under my breath. Or am I blind to the truth? I reached for my phone, scrolling through our past conversations, reading every word she had ever sent. Each emoji, each pause, each goodnight felt loaded. Why didn't I notice before? I whispered. Every little thing counts, Alex. Every little thing. The next morning at work, I was distracted. My boss asked me a question about the report, and I fumbled the numbers. Alex, are you okay? My colleague asked. Yeah, fine, I lied, rubbing my temples. Not fine, I thought. Not at all. By lunch, I was back on her social media. I rechecked the photos from last week, noticing Julian in the background. He smiled at Emily like he cared deeply. My stomach twisted. Why does he get to be so close? I whispered. And I don't know if I trust him. That evening, I followed Emily to the grocery store, pretending it was coincidence. She waved at Julian and my chest tightened again. Just friends, I muttered to myself, but the thought did little to calm me. She laughed at something he said, leaning slightly closer. Stop overthinking, I told my reflection in the car mirror. But the mirror only reflected my obsession back at me. When Emily returned home, I asked casually, "How was your day?" "Busy," she said, tossing her bag down. "Julian helped me with a tricky issue at work." I swallowed hard. Right, the tricky issue. My voice was sharper than I intended. She raised an eyebrow. "Alex, you're tense. What's wrong?" "Nothing. Really." I forced a smile. Liar, I thought. Later, I cornered her in the kitchen. "Emily, tell me honestly, do you need him for everything? Why not just me?" Her hands froze on the counter. "Alex, that's not fair. Julian's helping me with something serious. It's not about excluding you." I shook my head. I know. I get jealous. Seeing you with him." "Jealous?" she said, her voice soft but firm. "Alex, you're imagining things. He's protective because he cares about the situation, not because he's trying to replace you." I sank into a chair. "I know, but I can't stop these thoughts. I replay everything we do. Every word. Every glance. I overanalyze." "You're letting suspicion eat you," she said, leaning against the counter. "You're punishing yourself and us." I buried my face in my hands. "I feel like I'm failing you. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I never was." Emily knelt beside me. "Alex, listen. You love me. You're human. You have flaws, but your heart is in the right place." "I can't help overthinking," I said, my voice cracking. "It's like I'm trapped in my own head." She reached out, touching my shoulder. "Then talk to me before the thoughts take over. Don't let them become a wall between us." "I try," I admitted. "But even now, I doubt myself. I doubt us. I see him and—" I twisted into jealousy, fear, suspicion. Emily's eyes softened. "That's the danger of obsession, Alex. It turns love into suspicion. It blinds you from the truth right in front of you." I nodded slowly, absorbing her words. "I see that now. But it's hard to stop. Hard not to imagine worst-case scenarios." "You need to trust," she said simply. "Trust me. Trust yourself. Trust that I'm not hiding my love from you." I exhaled. "I want to. I do. But I keep seeing the past, all the moments I ignored signs, all the moments I assumed the best while fear gnawed at me." She took my hand. "You're only human. Recognizing your flaws is the first step. Pride, jealousy, emotional impulses, they're dangerous, yes, but they don't define you. You define yourself by what you choose now." Her words hit me harder than I expected. I realized I had been punishing both of us with my obsessive thoughts. "I've let my mind override love," I said quietly. "I've let suspicion outweigh trust." Emily nodded. "Awareness is the first step. Next is action. Talk to me, share your fears, let me reassure you before your mind spirals." "I will," I promised. "I can't guarantee I won't stumble, but I'll try. I see how dangerous it is to let jealousy rule me." She smiled softly. "And I'll do my part too. We face this together. Not separately. Not against each other." I squeezed her hand. "Together," I repeated. The word felt grounding, a tether pulling me back from the edge of obsession. As the night fell, I sat alone for a moment, replaying the day. Julian's genuine concern, Emily's composure, her patience, they weren't threats. They were reminders of her love, even when my mind twisted things otherwise. I whispered to the dark room, "I need to change. I need to stop letting fear control me. I love her, and that should be enough." The thought felt fragile, but it was the first time in weeks I believed it. And maybe, just maybe, I could let trust guide me again instead of obsession's grip. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, my mind replaying every argument, every misinterpreted gesture. Emily leaned against the doorframe, her eyes soft but guarded. "Alex," she whispered. I looked up, my chest tight. "Emily, I don't know how to fix this." She stepped closer, sitting beside me. "I know. I should have told you sooner. You've been hiding things from me," I said, my voice shaky. "Things I thought I knew but I didn't." "Why?" Her lips trembled. "Because I wanted to protect you. From me, from my past, from everything that could hurt you." I blinked. "Protect me?" "Emily, you nearly broke me instead." She reached for my hand. "I never wanted that. I thought if I kept it hidden I could shield you. But I see now, it only caused more pain." I exhaled, guilt rising like a storm in my chest. "And I accused you. I let my jealousy and suspicion take over. I doubted you without cause. Tears welled in her eyes. Alex, it wasn't just you. I was afraid. Afraid you'd see the past and think less of me, afraid you'd leave. I didn't want to burden you. I should have trusted you, I said softly. I should have asked instead of assuming the worst. Emily wiped her cheeks. I should have trusted you to handle it, to see that my love for you was genuine, not diminished by my history. I swallowed hard. I hurt you with my doubts and I hate that. I thought I was protecting myself, but all I did was add strain. She nodded. I know. And I've been carrying my own weight silently. That's why I hesitated to tell you everything. But I realize now that honesty, even when painful, is the only way forward. Then, tell me, I said, voice breaking. Tell me everything. No half-truths, no hidden corners. Her hands trembled as she held mine. A long time ago, before we met, I went through difficulties. Emotional struggles, decisions I regretted. I've tried to move past them, but some people, like Julian, needed help I couldn't refuse. I didn't want you to see that side of me, thinking it would change how you felt. Julian? I asked, remembering the unease I felt whenever he was around. He's been a friend, Alex. Supportive, protective, nothing more. I understand now how my secrecy made him seem suspicious, but he's just human. He cares about people, and I relied on him for guidance when I didn't know who else to trust. I closed my eyes, letting her words sink in. So, all those assumptions I made, all the nights I spent imagining betrayal. My voice cracked. I made it worse for both of us. Her thumb brushed my hand. We both made mistakes. But now we can talk about them openly. We can rebuild. I looked at her, searching for the truth in her gaze. Emily, I'm so sorry. I let my pride and fear override love. I doubted the person I vowed to trust, and I see now how wrong that was. She leaned into me, her forehead resting against mine. And I'm sorry too. I didn't know how to let you in without exposing you to worry. I see now that hiding everything only created distance. I hugged her tightly. I should have listened. I should have asked. I should have trusted you. She whispered, and I should have shared even when it scared me. The room fell silent except for our breathing. I realized how fragile trust can be, how quickly assumptions can corrode love. We're both human, I said finally. Flawed, scared, emotional. But that doesn't mean we can't choose to trust each other moving forward. Emily smiled faintly through her tears. Yes, vulnerability is terrifying, but it's also the bridge to understanding. I nodded, squeezing her hands. I'll do better. I'll stop letting fear dictate my thoughts. I'll focus on you, on us, instead of letting shadows cloud everything. And I'll do the same, she said. I'll be honest even when it's uncomfortable. I'll let you in even if it scares me. Her words were a balm to my restless mind, yet a small knot of unease lingered. It won't be easy, I said. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. I know, she replied. But each conversation, each honest word, it's a step forward. I chuckled softly. I never realized how exhausting love could be until now. Jealousy, pride, fear. I've carried all of them. Emily laughed faintly. And yet here we are. Choosing each other anyway. I leaned back slightly, studying her face. I see Julian differently now. I see him as a human being, not a threat. I was blinded by my insecurities. Exactly, she said, squeezing my hand. Not everyone is a danger. Some people are just part of life's support system. I exhaled, feeling some of the weight lift. I'm learning, slowly. But I want to love without suspicion, to trust without fear. And I want to make it safe for you to do that, she said. No more secrets, no more hidden corners. Just us facing life honestly. I nodded, letting her words sink in. Then we start here. Together. Vulnerable, honest, ready to face everything. Emily leaned against me, her tears damp on my shoulder. I love you, Alex. I love you too, I whispered. And I'll do everything to show it, not just in words, but in trust and understanding. For the first time in weeks, I felt a tentative peace settle over the room. The tension hadn't vanished entirely, but we had faced the storm together. And in that honesty, that vulnerability, I found hope that love, real love, could survive even the shadows of misjudgment. I was sitting on the balcony staring at the city lights when my phone buzzed. Emily's name flashed on the screen. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Alex, something's happened, she whispered, her voice tight. What is it? I asked immediately, standing and moving closer to her voice, heart hammering. Nathan, she said, almost breaking. He's back. He threatened me today. I felt a cold rush through me. Nathan? The one from your past job? The one you told me about? Yes, she said, her hands shaking. I thought he was gone. I didn't expect him to show up now. I gritted my teeth. Where are you? At home, but he knows where I live. I dropped my bag and ran to the car. Don't move. I'm coming to you. You don't have to, she began, but I cut her off. Emily, don't argue. Stay put. I'll protect you. The drive was a blur. My thoughts raced, spinning between fear and anger. How dare he threaten her? How dare anyone touch her? But beneath it all, I felt the old insecurity rise. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough to keep her safe? When I reached her apartment, she was pacing, clutching a letter. Alex, she said, voice trembling. What's that? I asked, taking a step closer. It came with his message, she whispered, showing me the envelope. He says, he knows things about me. You want something. Threatens, if I don't comply. I grabbed the letter carefully, reading the words. Threats, manipulation, veiled warnings. My stomach churned, but underneath the fear, determination sparked. We're not letting him win, I said. Emily looked at me, her eyes wide. But he's dangerous. What if? Stop, I said firmly. I won't let him hurt you. We deal with this together. She nodded, but tears spilled. I'm scared, Alex. I've never faced him alone before. You're not alone, I said, taking her hands. We face him and we face this together. You trust me, right? Yes, she whispered, though her grip tightened. I swallowed the knot in my throat. Then let's plan. Tell me everything. All the interactions, all the threats. We can't act blindly. Emily laid out the details. Phone calls, shadowing, veiled intimidation. I listened carefully, noting every word. We'll go to the authorities, but first, I want to make sure he can't reach you tonight. We'll stay together, safe. She nodded silently, leaning into me. Alex, I don't know what I would do without you. You'll never have to find out, I said, voice low. I'm here. I won't let him dictate our lives. Later, as we gathered keepsakes, letters, photos, small reminders of our time together, I realized how much history we shared. Every note, every memory felt heavier tonight, a symbol of what we were fighting for. I held a small postcard she had sent me months ago. Do you remember this? I asked. She smiled faintly. Of course. You kept it? I did. All of it. I kissed her forehead. These are the reasons I fight. Not just for safety, but for us, for what we've built. Emily leaned against me. I've been scared of losing you, of losing us. I know, I said. And I've been scared too. Scared of failing you, scared of letting doubt ruin what we have. But tonight, I make a choice. What choice? She asked, looking up at me. To trust fully. To love fully. To protect fully. I won't let past fears, jealousy, or suspicion control me. I choose us. Her tears fell freely. Alex, I've been waiting for you to say that. To mean it. I do, I said firmly. I know mistakes were made and I take responsibility for mine. But I won't let them define us. Nathan's threat doesn't change my love or my trust in you. Emily hugged me tightly. I trust you, Alex. I always have. I just didn't know how to show it. You don't have to, I whispered. You just have to be here with me now. We stayed like that, the weight of fear balanced by the strength of our connection. The letter and threats were still real, but the bond between us felt stronger, more tangible. I realized that love isn't just about comfort. It's about courage, vulnerability, and action. I looked at her, holding her hands. We face him tomorrow. Together. And no matter what, I will protect you, Emily. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because this love, it deserves the fight. She nodded, eyes shining. I believe you. I believe in us. I smiled, despite the tension still looming outside our walls. Then we prepare. We stay alert, but we also remember why we fight. Every letter, every memory, every laugh, those are our weapons too. Emily leaned against me, softer now, calmer. I feel safe with you. And I feel alive because of you, I said. Tonight I've made my choice. Love, trust, and vigilance. Nothing else matters. Not fear, not jealousy, not doubt. I held her close, letting the city lights shine over us, a silent promise between two hearts determined to protect each other. Nathan may be out there, but we had each other, and that was stronger than any threat. I whispered to the quiet night, I choose us. Always. I didn't expect it to unfold so quickly. The phone rang early in the morning, and when I answered, it was Chloe. "Alex, you need to hear this," she said, urgency in her voice. "What is it?" I asked, gripping the receiver. "Nathan, he's been caught. Security footage, police, everything. He won't be bothering Emily again." I exhaled sharply, relief flooding me. "So, it's over?" "For now," she replied. "But more importantly, Emily, she's safe, and the truth about everything is finally out. People who tried to manipulate or hurt you both are facing the consequences." I hung up and looked at Emily, who had been quietly watching me from the kitchen doorway. Her eyes held a cautious smile. "Is it true?" I asked, walking over. "Yes," she said, voice soft. "He's gone." And Chloe helped. We were both worried, but it's handled. I felt a strange sense of satisfaction, not from joy at someone else's downfall, but from the balance of fairness being restored. I guess karma has a way of showing up." Emily laughed quietly. "I think so. But I hope you don't let it make you bitter." "I'm not bitter," I said, rubbing the back of my neck. "I just feel vindicated in a way. And I realize how much damage misunderstanding can cause." She stepped closer. "We've both learned that, haven't we?" I nodded. "I've carried jealousy, doubt, and impulsive emotions. And I've caused you pain along the way. I need to take responsibility for that." "You have," she said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "And I'm learning to trust you more openly, to share without fear of judgment or assumption." Her words warmed me, a subtle affirmation of the growth we had both endured. I took her hand. "It feels like we're finally starting fresh." Emily squeezed my hand. "It's cautious, yes, but it's honest. That's what matters." I leaned against the counter, thinking aloud. Seeing the consequences of Nathan and the others, it makes me reflect on my own actions. My obsession, my doubts, my pride. They were my own form of chaos. "Yes," she said softly. "But you recognized it. That's the difference. Awareness and change. That's what matters." "I've replayed every argument, every suspicion," I admitted. "And I see now how unnecessary some of it was. I let fear dictate my actions instead of trust. That's on me." Emily rested her head on my shoulder. "And I've been hiding, thinking I was protecting you. I see now that openness could have prevented a lot of pain." I smiled faintly, brushing her hair back. "We're both learning slowly. But tonight, I feel like the world righted itself just a little." She chuckled, lifting her head. "Karma has subtle ways of teaching lessons, Alex. Not everything comes back immediately, but the balance finds its way." I nodded, thinking of the letters I had kept, the postcards, the small reminders of our history. Each was a symbol of what we had endured together. Proof that love, accountability, and persistence could withstand trials. "I see it now," I whispered. "Even the hardships, they're shaping us, refining us." Emily's smile deepened. "And I trust you enough to let go of the past. To let go of the fear." "I'm working on it," I said, squeezing her hand. "I'm aware that trust is fragile and love is precious. I won't let my own flaws destroy it again." She laughed softly. "And I'll be right here reminding you of that, even when it's hard." I felt a wave of gratitude and calm wash over me. "It's strange," I said, "how life has a way of balancing itself. Those who tried to manipulate or harm us faced consequences. And those who truly cared, like Chloe, like you, helped us endure and grow." Emily nodded, her eyes warm. "It reinforces the idea that honesty, courage, and love have a power all their own. Actions come full circle, even subtly. We've learned to navigate that together." I leaned in, kissing her forehead gently. "We've both made mistakes, but we've also chosen to grow. That matters more than anything else." She rested her cheek against mine. "And I see that in you. You've chosen to prioritize us, to learn from the past, to act with care and vigilance." I smiled, feeling the weight of obsession, doubt, and fear lift just slightly. I realize now that accountability is as important as love. I can't just feel, I have to act responsibly. That's what trust demands. Emily's hand found mine again. "And we'll keep each other grounded. No assumptions, no hiding, no letting fear rule us." I nodded firmly. "Agreed. And I'm ready for that. For us. For what comes next." Her eyes shone with a mix of relief and hope. "Then let's move forward carefully but openly. With honesty, courage, and love." "Yes," I said, pulling her into an embrace. "Carefully but together. That's what matters." I held her tightly, feeling the lessons of the past settle into a quiet peace. Misunderstandings had clarified, threats had been faced, and we had both grown. The tension between love, accountability, and consequence had found a delicate balance. I whispered into her hair, "We've endured, learned, and now we move forward. With love, trust, and vigilance. Together." Emily smiled faintly against me. Together. I looked out the window at the city lights, feeling a rare calm, a sense of equilibrium restored. Karma, patience, and our shared honesty had led us here. And finally, I felt ready to embrace whatever the future held, with Emily by my side. I found Emily in the living room, sitting on the couch, hands clasped tightly. Her eyes met mine, glistening with unshed tears. "Alex," she whispered. "I'm here," I said softly, moving closer. "Talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind." She shook slightly. I don't even know where to start." "Start anywhere," I said. "I just want to hear you. Really hear you." Her lips trembled. "I've been so scared that my past, my mistakes, would destroy us. That you'd see me differently, or worse, that I'd lose you." I knelt in front of her. "Emily, listen. I've doubted, yes, but I see now how my assumptions hurt both of us. I'm sorry." Tears slid down her cheeks. "I'm sorry too. For hiding, for not trusting you to understand. I thought I was protecting us, but all I did was create distance." I reached for her hands, holding them gently. "We both made mistakes. But this honesty, it's what we needed." "I never stopped loving you, Alex," she said, her voice breaking. "Even when I kept secrets, even when fear controlled me, my love never wavered." I swallowed hard, emotions catching me off guard. "And I've been so consumed by fear and doubt that I nearly forgot that. I let jealousy and suspicion overshadow my love for you." "I'm sorry, Emily." She squeezed my hands. "I know, and I forgive you. We were both human, navigating uncertainty." I nodded, relief and lingering guilt mixing in my chest. It's hard to forgive myself sometimes. Seeing how my mind twisted everything, imagining betrayal where there was none. Emily cupped my face. "Alex, you loved me. That's never been in question. We just needed clarity, and now we have it. That's what matters." I exhaled slowly, letting her words sink in. "I want to move forward, truly. No shadows, no lingering doubts. Just us, facing everything together." "Me too," she whispered, tears streaming freely now. "I want to trust fully, to share openly, without fear of judgment or assumption." I brushed a tear from her cheek. "We've endured so much, Emily. Every misunderstanding, every threat, every sleepless night, and we're still here. Together." "Yes," she said softly. "And I think that's proof. Love isn't perfect, but it's resilient. We're resilient." I smiled faintly, pulling her into a hug. "I've realized something important. Trust and love aren't passive. They require courage, patience, and willingness to forgive ourselves and each other." Emily rested her head on my shoulder. "And that's what we're doing. Choosing courage, choosing each other." I tightened my embrace. "I was so afraid of losing you, and yet I almost lost sight of what matters. Forgiveness, understanding, honesty, that's what saves us." She looked up at me, eyes glistening with emotion. "I never doubted your love. But I doubted whether I could show mine without causing more pain." "You've shown it," I said, voice gentle. "Every day, even in silence, even in fear. And I've learned to see it, to appreciate it without letting doubt cloud everything." Emily smiled faintly through her tears. "I feel lighter now, like a weight has lifted." I nodded, feeling the same. "Me too. I forgive myself for overthinking, for imagining betrayal. And I forgive us for the mistakes we made. They don't define us." "They don't," she agreed, reaching for my hand. "We define us. Our choices, our commitment, our willingness to be honest and vulnerable. That's what matters." I squeezed her hand, holding it like a lifeline. "I promise to keep choosing us. To let trust guide me instead of fear. To see the truth before my mind twists it. And I promise to be open, to share everything without fear," she said, voice steadying. "We face everything together, without hiding, without suspicion." I drew her closer. "Together," I whispered. "No shadows, no doubts. Just us." Emily nodded against my chest. "Together." For the first time in weeks, I felt a quiet peace. The tension that had weighed on us, the misunderstandings, the threats, and the fear, they were still memories, but they no longer had power over us. We had spoken honestly, forgiven freely, and renewed our commitment. I pulled back slightly, looking into her eyes. "We've endured storms, Emily. And yet, here we are, stronger than before." She smiled softly. "Yes, stronger and ready for whatever comes next." I held her hand, feeling the warmth and trust between us. I love you, Emily. Truly, completely, without hesitation. I love you too, Alex, she whispered. And I trust you completely. The room was quiet except for our breathing, steady and calm. Tears had fallen, apologies had been made, and understanding had been reached. Our bond, tested and strained, had been rekindled. I exhaled, a sense of closure settling in. We're ready to move forward, I said softly. Together with honesty, love, and trust. Emily rested her head on my shoulder again. Together. And in that quiet moment, I felt hope, peace, and a slow, steady renewal of the love that had carried us through every shadow and fear. I sat across from Emily at our favorite cafe, the morning sun spilling over her hair. She stirred her coffee slowly, eyes meeting mine. It feels lighter, doesn't it? She asked. I nodded. Yes. After everything, I think we finally understand each other. Emily smiled faintly. Communication, trust, honesty. They're not just words anymore. We've lived them. I've learned, I said, that patience isn't just about waiting. It's about listening, observing, and controlling my own impulses. She reached for my hand. And I've learned that hiding, even for protection, can hurt more than it shields. Sharing, even when it's scary, is safer. I squeezed her hand gently. I'm grateful we endured all of it. The misunderstandings, the jealousy, even the threats. They taught us what really matters. Emily laughed softly. I still can't believe I worried so much about Nathan. In the end, it was the way we handled it together that counted. I smiled. Exactly. It wasn't about control or fear, it was about action, responsibility, and mutual trust. Do you think we'll ever get it perfect? She asked quietly. I shook my head. No. But perfection isn't the goal. Awareness, effort, and choosing each other every day, that's enough. Emily's eyes softened. I trust that. And I trust us. I've realized something important, I said, about love and fear. Fear makes you overthink, doubt, obsess. Love guides you to patience, forgiveness, and understanding. Choosing love over fear changes everything. She nodded, tears glinting in her eyes. And choosing trust over suspicion strengthens the bond. I feel it now, Alex. Stronger than ever, even after everything we've endured. I leaned back slightly, letting her words sink in. It's strange, I said, how much we thought we lost but we actually gained. Insight, emotional resilience, and a deeper connection. Emily reached across the table, her fingers brushing mine. I think the hardest moments showed us the value of what we have. We've grown individually and together. Yes, I said, smiling. And that growth isn't just about surviving challenges. It's about facing ourselves honestly, forgiving mistakes, and making conscious choices every day. Emily's lips curved into a small, genuine smile. It's comforting, knowing we can navigate the future without letting fear dictate our relationship. I agree, I said. We have tools now, honesty, patience, and emotional awareness. We know how to handle misunderstandings without letting them escalate. She laughed softly. Even when I think about the early days, all the little doubts and miscommunications. I chuckled. It feels like a lifetime ago. And yet, those lessons shaped us. Every mistake was part of the process. Emily squeezed my hand. I'm ready to move forward, cautiously optimistic but hopeful. Me too, I said, holding her hand firmly. Hopeful because we've proven to ourselves that love endures when paired with trust and self-awareness. She leaned closer. Then let's do that, Alex. Keep choosing each other, learning and growing. Together. Together, I echoed, feeling a rare calm settle over me. The world outside continued in its usual rhythm, but here, in this quiet moment, Emily and I were aligned. Our hearts carried lessons, our minds held clarity, and our bond, tested, strained, and rebuilt, was ready for whatever came next. And for the first time in a long while, I believed in a future that felt steady, hopeful, and real.